Hallo miteinander, I'm Gesh86, and this is Touhou Kobuto V Burst Battle. This is another one of the currently 5 Touhou fan games available on console. It is special in that for the Nintendo Switch, it is the very first and at the moment only one. But what you are seeing is the PlayStation 4 version. I've already shown you some footage of this a while ago. It is a one-on-one fighting game in a 3-dimensional arena. I've decided that wasn't enough. I wanted to show you the one story mode I liked best, that of Sakuya, the perfect and elegant maid. Now, I've got to start this single episode Let's Play with something very controversial. The general consensus among Touhou fans, and even my own opinion, is that Kabuto V is the weakest Touhou fan game on consoles right now. When I talk about the games I record and judge them, I don't ever use number scores. However, as an exception, I think I should mention that the Metacritic aggregate of this game is a 42 out of 100 at present. A substantial chunk lower than the other fan games. I often hear that people have little faith in these websites, but given that freaking Sonic 06 is in about that range, it should at least be a warning sign. Maybe we shouldn't be asking ourselves if Kabuto V is a fun and solid title, but rather, is there some good in it? Is it bearable? Does it function? As always, we will find out. Our campaign has begun in the meantime. Sakuya Izayoi and Hong Mei Ling are on a quest for Rumia Scarlet's missing pet Yukuri. Yukuri are somewhat of a meme among the fans. They are animals with the appearance of the Touhou girls' heads. Yes, just the heads. They are these surreal face blobs. Seemingly unrelated to that, we encounter Marisa Kirisame, who is pilfering the library. Our library. Obviously, this leads to conflict. Marisa can be a very dangerous foe. I'd say she's one of the most powerful characters, and one the computer tends to be formidable as. Lucky for us, the opponents get smarter as the story goes on, and in stage 1, the AI is pretty brain dead. Matches are best of 3 in story mode, so we have to replicate that win one more time before we can move on. As for controls, we can jump, we can dash, and we have 3 buttons, circle, triangle and square, all resulting in different attacks, and those lead to the colorful variation in the endless rain of knives we are making. What an easy victory that was! The bout with Marisa might have seemed like filler, but the ordinary magician does have some input on the Yukuri's whereabouts. There is a running gag for Sakuya's story. It's that we are constantly belittling Mei Ling, not China. Like there, for example. In the intro, we actually casually stabbed her. She was bleeding quite profusely. Yes, Sakuya's character is a little worrisome. We shoo petty Marisa out of the library and move on to a brand new location. The gates of the Scarlet Devil Mansion, where we meet Rumia. Blasphemy, just kidding. I shouldn't keep parroting myself in that matter. Rumia also made it into this game. Kabuto V has the same cast as the embodiment of Scarlet Devil, with the addition of Koishi being the only exception. I personally prefer a more mixed ensemble, but I do understand it. The characters of Touhou 6 are on average very popular. Rumia's battle greeting is literally, "Let's eat." Yeah, she feasts on people. That fully summarizes her personality here. She is very proficient at range and can instantly create lots of bullets. Back to the attack buttons I mentioned, each has a bar in the lower right. That's sort of their cooldown or ammunition. These bars regenerate quickly over time, but if you overuse the same attack, or those linked to the same button, you won't be able to pay the cost and the moves won't come out. That gives you incentive to mix up what you press and consider your whole moveset. You do want to do that because you have quite a big one, it's not just 3 shot types. If you push other buttons in conjunction with circle, square and triangle, different shots will come out. L1 for example will work with this. Attacks will also be different while in the air or dashing, or if you hold the dash button R1 while just standing. Finally, holding L1 and R1 results in even more techniques. Those tend to be especially powerful and costly. Rumia has been put in her place. She will stay hungry for today. Just like Marissa, the Demon of Darkness has encountered the Yukuri and also gives us a new lead, Reimu. Guess we're going to beat up a shrine maiden? You know, since Touhou fan games have spread out from their doujin niche, the released games have often been criticized for their story, with the conversations being about banal things, usually nothing threatening, that it's often just silly banter between the characters. For me, that is not a problem. The stakes don't always have to be high. Not all stories need to take themselves seriously. We face Reimu in Remilia's arena. It's the only one that combatants dramatically float into. Unsurprisingly, Reimu is a balanced character, with some extra emphasis on defense. Her yin-yang orbs create a sort of electrical field to block bullets and hide behind. It's good that we have ways to work around that. I've told you about shots that involve both L1 and R1. For Sakuya, the combinations with square and circle are really good. I use them all the time. When you see the graphics briefly going into the negative, that is exactly those attacks, indicating that Sakuya is using her time-stopping powers. Knives will then just appear close to the enemy and blindside them. We defeated Reimu in precisely that way. They are pretty mean techniques. In multiplayer, even real people won't see those knives approaching. Their only hint will be Sakuya's body language. Here's more story. Through the official games, Zun has popularized these intriguingly empty conversations. A lot of times, characters are just low-key shit-talking each other. The developer of Kabuto V, Cubetype, is in my opinion really good at replicating this Seinfeldian writing style. If you want to put it bluntly, Touhou is about nothing. But something can be about a strangely charming kind of nothing. Seinfeld may be the butt of many jokes nowadays, but it was an extremely successful show. Mei Ling just can't catch a break, can she? Here's another situation where Sakuya reminds our gatekeeper just how pathetic she is. Poor Mei Ling. All that's left to do is to visit Misty Lake, our original goal before 2 opponents sidetracked us. We are already here, and for the first time, we are getting a good look at the Yukuri. Brace yourselves. Nature has made a mistake. Most of the characters can't stand it, but Cherno does. The Ice Fairy also has one of the more entertaining story modes, in which she adopts the Yukuri. However, there is a twist to it all, making it unlikely that we would encounter the two together. I shouldn't reveal much more. Cherno believes in the principle of might makes right, so we will have to fight her for that Yukuri. If you think too hard about power levels, Cherno against Sakuya would be a very one-sided matchup, but this is a fighting game, just like all others. Cherno is an opponent not to be underestimated, if only for her spell card. Yes, there are super moves in this game. You can use them once you have a full charge gauge, which is located under your health bar. You gather charge by attacking, and even more of it if your bullets negate those of the other player. Cherno seems to be a character specialized on charging up quickly. That's how she got to use her frost columns there. It's a very dangerous all-or-nothing ground-only spell card. The button combination for spell cards is hitting triangle and circle at the same time. Sakuya, in contrast to Cherno, seems to be exceptionally bad at building up her super. You might not even get to see ours in this mini Let's Play. In that case, I can only redirect you to my uncommentated video of score attack mode. Concluded matches in said mode don't reset the charge gauge, so we get it filled eventually. In the end, Cherno was defeated like the rest. For the fights we've had so far, we've also used a lot of melee attacks. Whenever we did those, the camera quickly panned behind us. The overall camera system of this game has been criticized a lot. The shifting is too disorienting and the lock-on lags behind. It's definitely a flaw new players will be discouraged by. I've mostly learned to cope with it. A real man never goes back on his word. You're a girl, Cherno. While everyone was distracted fighting the strongest fairy, the Yukuri sneakily fled the scene. No choice but to keep chasing it. All story campaigns consist of 6 matches, but they may not all go against your average playable character. You'll see what I mean. Cherno knows of a way to track the runaway Yukuri. We need to follow that stink. Apparently, the Yukuri had a really gross and trashy diet. Do you see why I like this story the best? I already knew Cubetype's writing style from Genso Rondo Bullet Ballet. It's been a saving grace for me from the start. Even if the gameplay turned out below expectations, which I suppose it did, the artwork and humor were always factors I knew I was going to appreciate. Who are we fighting now? The Yukuri? Yes, but it's become monstrous. This is a special boss character that you can never play as, and it's a total joke if you know what to do. Just go full close combat and spam attacks that would usually spread out. The Yukuri has no invincibility frames, all the shots will connect, and dealing this much damage will keep it stun locked. The only attack it will likely get off is its sweeping mouth beam, and that one is easily avoided with an air dash. So, good news, we've defeated the Yukuri. Bad news, with defeated, I mean we killed it. The chief mate has murdered the noble and exalted Lady Scarlet's beloved pet. Sakuya seems to live by some sort of samurai code and thinks of taking her own life out of failing her mistress. This has got to be another short-lived joke by Cubetype. No one ever dies in Touhou, right? Well, so far, Sakuya isn't backing down from her beliefs. Mei Ling, not China, is of course a lot more level-headed in this matter. It is somewhat a legend of the fandom that Mei Ling was once Sakuya's senior in the hierarchy of the Scarlet Devil Mansion's staff. Soon, Sakuya shot past her due to being so much more dutiful. This scene really reflects that the gatekeeper does not approve the idea of losing one's life in the name of honor. Too bad for her. Sakuya argues that she is also to blame for the mission's failure and needs to be killed. So, here we are. We are crazy and we are going to execute Mei Ling. What? Did you think we were going to switch sides to whoever we think is the better person? Of course not. I wouldn't say Mei Ling is a particularly strong character, although she has above average melee capabilities and attacks that can stun. Yet this is fight number 6, so the AI is pretty respectable at this point. As you can see, she is quite active and keeps us on our toes. We are going to have to build on Sakuya's strengths to prevail. The perfect mate seems to be a very advanced character, a choice of extremes. Our knives are pretty powerful and fast. Sakuya herself is also fast and has loads of stamina for dashing. What I have noticed, unfortunately, she is very frail. Some characters may have above or below average durability, but only for Sakuya did I notice how extremely squishy she was. Wanna know how? I was playing arcade mode as Marissa and faced an AI Sakuya. It was the only time I one-shotted someone at full health with a Master Spark. Just did the spell card and bam, the round lasted exactly 1 second. Even in this match, it didn't look like we made many mistakes, and it was still an incredibly close call. Can't allow yourself to do those mistakes as Sakuya. Well, it was nice knowing you, Mei Ling. You're going to join us in death now. Sucks to be you. The translation makes Sakuya say here, but I think it's meant to be more of a sob or whimper. How would I know that? That's how. I guess it was only temporary insanity. When I first saw this scene, this ending, I instantly thought that you have to see this. It's just so heartwarming. Another commonly shared fan theory about Sakuya and Mei Ling is that they were once closest of friends who have sadly grown distant due to the chief mate's rise in rank. This is a very pleasant take on that trope. I especially like these upcoming lines. The maid and the gatekeeper made their way home together. They talked and laughed about different silly topics, like what they'd just been through and how completely uncute the Yukuri was. The Yukuri really was terrible. Freaking sentient beancake with a face. What a nightmare. Alright, we are done. So, is Touhou Kobuto V Burst Battle as much of a disaster as Sonic 06? No, it is definitely not. There weren't any major bugs, we didn't die in a cutscene or something. We also didn't witness any interspecies smooching, thank God. But in all seriousness, Kabuto V has a lot of issues, and they can be very off-putting for any new players. When I first started playing, it didn't at all feel comfortable, just very chaotic and confusing. Nonetheless, I kept at it, got a feel for its logic, and learned to understand enough of what it's trying to do to get somewhat good at it. A common complaint is that the game feels too sluggish. That I do not agree with. I believe mecha battles were an inspiration for Kabuto V. Think Armored Core or a newer Gundam game. Basically, the girls are giant, large robots. Don't tell them they are. Obviously, their movement would be mechanical and heavy, but through propulsion, they could burst into speed. Dashing is a big strategic component, boosting only when it's necessary shapes the gameplay. Sorry for speaking over this rad song, by the way, but we had to get our mini review in there. You can also listen to it through Nisa's launch trailer for the game. With that, Gesch86. This was Touhou Kobuto V Burst Battle. Bis bald!